All right, traders and investors, welcome back to the Benzinga pre-market show brought to you by Options House. I have with me the head trader over at Lucci Group, Anad Sangvi. Anad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
So we were just saying you've been having a pretty good summer, huh? How's trading been going for you lately with these markets?
To be honest, I've been having a great summer because I'm not trading at all. I'm not trading at all. I'm hanging out. I'm enjoying my summer. So I'll be back to trading probably middle of this week, probably next week. But I've been watching. I've been watching. So I would say like 2, 3 weeks ago, things got really juicy, and there's been some entertainment out here.
Well, what do you got on your buy or sell radar right now? You got anything that you're looking at in particular?
I would say the Twitter long. Still some continuation longs on all of these high flyers. You know, your Netflix, the Google here over $600. You got Apple, which just broke $100. So, there's probably some upside here. So yeah, definitely some moves out here. Maybe some rotation into the banks, but this sector's been dead for a while.
So are you not holding anything then right now on your books, or is there anything that maybe the guys that you're working with are talking about, or anything that's coming up, with around on your trade desk? Some of the
For me,
positions.
I'm holding absolutely nothing. My guys are all over these high flyers though every day. So these things are moving with serious ranges every day. The Teslas of the world, so they're all trading these things.
What about handling this recent decline that we've had in the market? How have the guys done with that? Or are they just able to stick it out on these high flyers?
Oh, you mean the decline from the Ukraine news
Yep.
and what's going on in Iraq and everything?
Yeah, this recent correction that everybody's been talking about and hoping was actually going to be the one.
That's actually the point, right? I mean, that created a lot of opportunity here on the dip buy. So they've been aggressively hitting the dip buy, and they hit it right. I mean, SPY got down to what 190, and we came all the way back to all-time highs here. So plenty of opportunity here on the dip buy still.
Now, when this kind of news hits the tape, how do you guys respond to it? Do you have a game plan for whenever there's some sort of negative news that's going to come out that could impact, SPY or any of the broader market indices, or do you guys really just kind of stick with, focusing on one stock, focusing on how it trades, and just managing that one specific stock?
We're definitely watching the macro picture. I mean, so far every single time news has come out around the world that has impacted the spies in a negative light, it's always bought back. It's always bought back. It's always not enough to create the panic and to, get people to start selling their long positions thus far. When is it going to be enough? I don't know, but usually right now it's always just some kind of world news that happens that nobody really cares about, and it's just kind of a temporary thing. Like you remember that Portuguese bank
Yep.
that got smoked out, and then we gapped down 20 handles that day, and then 2 days later we came all the way back. So it's situations like that. And it's still situations like that. So frankly, we're still in a dip buy environment.
Yeah, it seems like everything's getting quite jittery out there. We seem to have a nice matchup between guys that are really confident long and people that have been bearish on the short side for a long time here that are starting to come out and kind of toot their horns a little bit.
Definitely, definitely. But again, I mean, every time these guys toot their horns, man, the horn is like one of those cartoon horns that just fizzles out after a half a second, and and then the bull horns just come right back.
It's tough to fight the Fed, man. When you've got a constant buyer out there, it's really tough to kind of stick with organic intrinsics as opposed to just rolling with the macro theme.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, maybe it'll happen when Fed starts, increasing interest rates. Maybe, but people are already going to start anticipating that. So, I don't know. I don't know what the shoe is that'll drop that makes people cover their long positions. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
What are you thinking about a rate hike, or what's going on with Jackson Hole this week? You guys been preparing for that, or talking about what your expectations would be for a rate hike and what this might mean for bonds, or any of the assets you guys are trading, the ETFs, or any of the specific stocks that you're holding?
Honestly, it's too early. It's too early to start speculating here when that rate hike will continue. I mean, they're still talking about dropping them further before we start these rate hikes. Later on in 2015. So I think it's too early to start adjusting your book for the drop for the increase in rate hikes. But if that does start to happen, I would start looking at the banks. I would definitely start looking at the banks. I mean, you're talking about a sector that just has been doing absolutely nothing for years now. Um, at some point they got to catch a bid.
What do you think about some of these big banks and some of the regional banks out here? I mean, do you see strength within the banks? I know that you kind of were enjoying trading Goldman Sachs. What was it in J.P. Morgan for a while there?
Yeah, yeah. Wells Fargo, for
Yeah.
example, like the Wells Fargo to me is the strongest bank out there. Has as far as the balance sheet and as far as the settlements from the mortgage crisis before, they're the ones that are pretty much out of the news here. Meanwhile, you have Bank of America still on tap to pay 16 billion or whatever the hell it is, to clear these government settlements. So as far as the strongest banks, I would definitely say the Goldman Sachs, the Wells Fargo's, Morgan Stanley, and things like that. Citigroup, Bank of America, these ones going to have the major issues. J.P. Morgan as well.
All right. All right. Then what else have we got here? You got any tech names you guys been looking at? What do you think about this Apple getting over 100? You guys got any views on that?
We watched that. I looked at the tape yesterday. I looked at the tape at $100 yesterday. There was a million share offer at $100, and
Wow.
like a half a million shares got printed, and they pulled the rest of the half a million, and there was about 2.5 million shares that went off in about a couple of minutes, right there at $100. So I'm thinking a couple of things. I'm thinking, there are people that are definitely going to be selling into this, but you gotta look at the fact that this is now like split adjusted. This is now $700 again. So there's gonna be a lot of activity here around this $100 area. I think there's gonna be probably a little shakeout here for people who get over eager buying over $100 here. But I think this thing can get going, possibly hit 110. And really take this whole the Nasdaq higher as well. So I definitely think Apple's got some room to run.
Yeah, now stepping outside of just looking at the tape, what do you think about Apple's business model? You think they really are onto something here with adding value with what they're coming out with the new screens and the new phones? Or I've been waiting for them to come out with a new Apple TV and just really start banging away on that thing.
It's been a long time though, hasn't it? I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about this Apple TV for a while now. The new ones here. I think the wearable market is going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to take over. I think it's really going to have an impact on the way people use their phones and everything. So a lot of people are waiting for these to come out. Frankly, me personally, I despise the Apple products. I despise them. Um, and I honestly can't see it. I honestly can't see that much of a future here in a lot of these products. But again, they keep innovating. They have a lot of market share. They keep converting customers too. And then you're talking about the global environment here, China and places like that where everybody now is using these phones. So there's still plenty of upside for their business model.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be sticking around. I couldn't imagine going without my phone, and I'm just curious about the implications now with the whole healthcare industry and the iWatch and their ability to,
Right.
basically get a better view on their customers.
Indeed.
What else have we got here? How things been going with Priceline lately?
Priceline's been dead, man. Priceline's been dead after the posting that earnings. She ripped over this 1300 area. I thought she was going to get back to like 1400 bucks, but she just died out. So it looks like Expedia, even the Expedia is kind of the strong one here, going to all-time highs. The TripAdvisor here, it still looks pretty strong. I think there's still room left here though in this price line. This would be one of the tech stocks. This would be one of the dogs now of the sector here. People aren't picking it up like they used to, and the tape is very difficult. But yeah, I think she's still got room here over 1300 bucks to possibly get back to her all time highs. But it's gonna be a dangerous trade. So you really got to be careful with this one.
Yeah, Priceline's pushing that 13, but that does look like a nice psychological level to get to, as opposed to back down to what's that,
Yeah,
1250.
Yeah, definitely. And then these social networks too, they still got a bid. So you're looking at this Facebook here at all-time highs still. LinkedIn is still pretty far off from her all-time highs. And then you got the Twitter. You got the Twitter, which I still think is a great dip buy. And you could see this thing over $50 soon.
Yeah, Twitter's definitely looking strong too.
Yeah.
All right, Sang. I guess well, I guess we can wrap it up there. I don't really have much else for you, buddy.
All right.
That's kind of what I wanted to touch on. I wanted to get your social media view. Actually, let's go into Twitter just a little bit more if we could,
Sure.
because a
Sure.
lot of the guys have been talking about the monthly average user rates and what's going on with Twitter about accounting for their ad revenues and stuff. And I wanted to see what your view was a little bit more in the business model, because for me the Twitter experience seems to have kind of changed a little bit since they went public, and I was expecting that, and I'm not really enjoying it as much as I used to.
Great point. Great point. And the sell-off was I didn't understand. I didn't understand why they dumped this thing as much as they did. And and again, the accounting issues and all that kind of stuff. I think people are going to see past that and come back basically and forgive and forget more or less. And it's just going to take a little bit longer. But this stock hit like 74 and then dumped to $30 here. Every single insider in the world was taken out, was completely gutting their position. But that earnings call, that last earnings call, that was the one. That was the one where users increased and everything looked a lot better. And she's holding up now. So the stock itself is acting a lot differently. So that's why I think this thing's got a shot at $50 plus.
Yeah, especially after we saw the boost that came from the World Cup, and then I'm kind of sitting here looking now, and I look at social media, and I look at the world around us, and I watch what's happened with this ice bucket challenge, and it just kind of
Right.
shows you the depth of how far the social media really goes into all of us. Because I mean
Right.
that
I mean,
stuff's
if you
crap.
look at pure usage, Twitter to me, it's the most powerful. To me, it's the most powerful out of all of them. Putting the ad stuff aside, putting a lot of the sort of revenue models aside, and again, I understand that's the important part. But as far as pure reach, as far as the effect of certain tweets and the effect of programs like World Cup and things like that, I think Twitter's the most powerful here. So just from a fundamental perspective, even though I don't do fundamentals at all, this is the one that I like the most.
All right. All right. Well, Lucci, I think we'll have to wrap it up on that one then, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to come in this morning, man. Thank you.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.